Alright, today we have a double episode, a full 22-minute episode to talk about Curse of the Blood Moon, which seems to have built up something of a reputation in the fandom already, and I guarantee that at least some of you are going to be disappointed by this review. Just wanted to get that out there right at the start. You're probably going to find this mildly disappointing. So let's get into it, shall we? Marco, who has been resisting his feelings for Star all of this time, finally reaches a breaking point when he can no longer deny that he finds everything that Star does absolutely adorable. And they even, not exactly finish each other's sentences, but they understand each other so well that they can recite each other's reasons for liking a thing, for example. Like right off the top of their heads, without any conversation about it beforehand or anything. And so Marco tells all of this to Tom, and he and Star both are surprised that Tom already knows, and Tom likewise confesses about the whole Blood Moon Ball thing, that he tried to bind himself to Star using the Curse of the Blood Moon, but she and Marco were bound together instead. Knowing this, and neither one of them wanting to continue to risk their friendship over these feelings that they don't want to act on, want to break the curse, so they go to Tom's grandfather, the Nosferatu-looking guy, whose name I don't remember, and who I didn't really like in Lake House Fever was the name of the episode. And he didn't really do enough here for me to form a more complete opinion of him after this episode. Like, he was a little better here, but he still wasn't great, because he apparently knows a lot about the Curse of the Blood Moon. He says, though, that it can't be broken, but that there is still an option that any two souls that are bound together can be separated using a severing stone in the deepest parts of the underworld. So they have a quest to the severing stone, where a lot of time filler happens. And then we get a fantastic scene where, just after we learn that in order for their souls to be severed, Star and Marco will have to forget the moment that their souls became bound in the first place, they are taken back in their minds to the Blood Moon Ball, to the dance that they weren't able to complete because Tom jumped in. And they get to finish out that dance. And when it's over, Marco doesn't have the same degree of understanding or feeling towards Star anymore. The thing that he found so cute, the fact that she wouldn't allow two cereal marshmallows to be apart because she was worried that they'd be lonely, it's just kind of nothing to him now. And so the severing stone seems to have worked, but the episode just kind of ends there. There's other stuff that happens in this episode, stuff that I didn't mention in the summation, like Tom's grandpa. He does some funny stuff, and there was one scene with some demon guards that was pretty funny. I liked it a lot. It was obviously there just to fill time in this episode, but it was still amusing enough that I enjoyed watching it. The episode itself, though, seemed to end on a purposeful anticlimax. It left us with so many questions. For example, during the dance that happened in their minds, Star and Marco only really started to truly connect with each other emotionally after the point in the dance that didn't happen in real life. So is that supposed to be the moment when they fell in love or their souls became bound or whatever? Because that specific moment didn't exist in reality. It only existed in their minds. Is the implication here that that scene, they only went back to it because they thought that's when their souls had become bound? It wasn't the moment that their souls had actually become bound? Or was that just some pleasant image that the stone showed them so that it wouldn't hurt when their souls were separated, if that's even possible? Were they even actually bound together, or did that flashback created by the stone bind them together in the first place? Maybe they were literally just that close of friends, but then if that's the case, then why did Marco suddenly not find the cereal thing cute at the end? Or, and this is the one that interests me the most, assuming that, you know, the stone didn't work exactly as they expected. That's my assumption based on the way the episode ended on such an anticlimax. Were their souls just bound so tightly together because they were that close of friends? Were the feelings that they had for each other incidental to this whole thing, and what the stone actually did was sever their friendship? That bird is just not going to let up, he says immediately before that bird lets up. What I find most interesting, though, is what if they weren't affected by the curse at all, as I've been assuming throughout this entire questioning portion of the review, and each of them developed feelings for the other at a completely different time? Now the two of them will have lost two completely separate memories, and neither one of them will really know what those memories are. Or if they fell for each other at the same time, maybe they lost a completely unrelated but important memory that now they're going to have to work to get back. This episode ends so open-ended that it creates so many possibilities and leaves you asking so many questions. The episode itself, I didn't think was that good. Like I said, there was a lot of time filler in here. There wasn't a whole lot of plot. In fact, we didn't really even have to have much explained to us here because we already knew the gist of what was going on with Star and Marco and this curse. It was mostly just a little bit of exposition and then filler after that. Filler which did once again include Janna, and I did appreciate that. I know some of you guys are getting tired of her shtick, but I am not. Fight me. Yes, she was here, and yes, she was used to fill time, but she was one of the better things about the episode itself. Which is not to say that I have a problem with all of this romance drama. I know that some people aren't enjoying it. They just want whichever ship or ships are going to be endgame to become canon and us move on from it. But the writers on this show obviously know that their fans ship characters, so whichever ship and or ships become endgame, they're going to make sure they're actually endgame, as in they don't come about in canon until the end or near the end of the series. And that is just, that's good writing. Resolving these plot points along with all the rest of them at the climax, that's good writing, and I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying the drama side of it. I'm also enjoying all of the questions that this episode left in my mind, and those are just ones that popped in off the top of my head. There are probably other ones that I'll come up with later. I wouldn't be surprised if we're given enough time before this storyline is furthered again, I don't put together some sort of theory or analysis on all of this as well. That's how interesting I find it. The episode itself, though, was only kind of okay, and I don't know if leaving all of these lingering questions in my mind, making me think as much as it did by the end, really saves what was otherwise kind of mediocre. In short, I didn't love this episode. I didn't hate this episode. I do not feel like this episode has resolved this romantic plotline. I really have no strong feelings about the episode one way or another, save for the very, very end. And that's why I think some of you guys are going to be disappointed. There seem to be quite a few people in the fandom who think this is either the best episode of the show, or just absolutely the worst, and is dragging out all of this love triangle stuff far more than it ever should have been. I just don't agree with either of you, really. As per usual, though, I'd like to know, what did you think of Curse of the Blood Moon if you have seen it? Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below, or over my Discord, link in the description. And if you guys have the time, I'd like to ask you to please take the time to head over and check out my Patreon. The link to that is also in the description. I'm basically taking requests at this point. If you pledge any amount, I will do my best to take one request from you each. That is one request for a show to cover, an episode to cover, a movie to cover, a book to cover, something along those lines. So, if you like the kind of content I create and would like to help me to create more, please consider becoming a patron. Either way, though, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.